LEGO has made so many amazing LEGO castle figures in the CMF line. So here are, in my opinion, the top 10 best castle figures from this line. Now, I put out a post asking people for their favorite castle minifigures. And because of the overwhelming number of answers I've gotten, I decided to make a top 10 list for castle CMFs and another top 10 list for figures from the castle theme. I did take into consideration your comments, but this is mostly just my personal opinion. So let's dive into this list. For number 10, I chose the Heroic Knight from Series 9. Now, I do actually like this figure. I think they did a really good job on the printing, especially on the chest plate and the legs. When you think of a knight, this is basically what you think of. But here's where I have issues with him. First off is the crest on his shield. We've just gotten so many crown factions, and this one's very similar to the 2007 Fantasy Era crown faction. I do wish LEGO had branched out and done a different faction symbol, maybe like a horse or something different that they haven't done yet. Also, I do think the white and light bluish gray does work for this figure, but it just doesn't stand out as much as some of the other color schemes on this list. For number 9, I got the Elf from Series 3. First off, his short hairpiece with yellow ears is unique to him. Secondly, LEGO did an amazing job on the color scheme of this figure. The brown with dark green and sand green is just such a great color combination. Everything from his shield to his torso printing just screams elf. I also love that in this figure's bio you learn that he's connected to Elf Lands, which is an unmade LEGO Castle faction from Fantasy Era. I just love that LEGO had this unmade LEGO Castle faction and the designer of this figure decided to pull from that to make this figure. That just feels like such a good use of the LEGO CMF theme. Honestly, I don't think I have anything bad to say about this figure. The fact that we've only gotten a few elves outside the Lord of the Rings line is also another reason why he's on this list. For number 8, I got the Falconer from CMF Series 24. For starters, the fact that we never got a Blackfalcon Falconer before this figure, I will never understand. Like, this is such a good idea that just makes so much sense. It's a figure that I love because it adds something new to a faction we already had. Like, it adds a new role to the faction and new parts that you can mix and match to make more custom figures with. That falcon piece is also really cool and something that castle fans needed. Also, the cape you get with her is very nice. I do think this figure should have just been put in a castle set like the Lion Knight's castle, but without a doubt, this figure is a must-have for any Blackfalcon fan. Number 7, the Troubadour from CMF Series 22. First off, the printing and color scheme of this figure is just fantastic. The magenta, which is a great contrast to the blue, plus that stripe pattern and dual molded legs, is just perfect. The gold and loot pieces weren't anything crazy, but they definitely helped to round out the look. Again, this is just another figure that needed to be made for the LEGO Castle world. Besides like a few jesters, we really haven't gotten any traveling entertainers. It's really an area of castle that LEGO should dive more into. At number 6 is the Frightening Knight from Series 15. First off, the symbol on his shield is very unique. I mean, it's not often we get a bear faction. I definitely love it when LEGO moves away from the dragon and lion factions. Now, his color scheme was basically used by the 2010 Dragon Knights, but I don't think that works against him because he also has the red of the shield to change it up a bit. Also, his design is so different, it just stands out. Now, I will say I might be a little bit biased here because that dark green is one of my favorite colors from LEGO, which is one of the reasons why the 2010 Dragon Knights is one of my favorite factions. But at the same time, that Morningstar Mace that we only get with him is just awesome. In the end, his overall look is just fantastic and definitely worthy of the name Frightening Knight. For number 5, the Series 20 Viking. He is also known as the Realistic Viking and is definitely the best Viking figure we have ever gotten. First off, the helmet is just awesome, and we have gotten more realistic Viking helmets since then, but this is definitely the best one. It stands out compared to the other one we've gotten because of that gold printing on the front of it. I also just love his printing. That color design of the olive green and brown is just perfect. Also, I just feel like a ton of medieval torsos are just like armor, which this one's nice because it's just like straps and a basic tunic. Definitely a very versatile torso. Also, his shield is very unique for its time. Final design of this figure is just perfect. For number 4, I chose the Tournament Knight, also called the Raven Knight. Now, this figure is just another knight, but what makes him unique is he has a different color scheme and a new symbol. Besides the Blackfalcons, how many bird factions have we gotten? It's also such a cool looking bird on the shield too. The yellow and black color scheme is very unique. There is literally one other time where yellow and black has been used as a color scheme in LEGO Castle, and that was for the Rogue Knights in Knights Kingdom 2. And it looked awful. It was so bad. Like, they looked like they were naked, which was just not right. With all that being said, I do have to say I think this figure has become overrated. If you don't know, this figure has become highly sought after in the LEGO Castle community. And I do understand he has a unique color scheme and a unique symbol, which makes him stand out. But people act like this figure is the best LEGO figure ever made. And I know a lot of people are gonna get mad at me because they think this figure should be number 1. But I do think there are better CMF figures out there, and that's why I put him at number 4. Overall, great figure and definitely a unique one in LEGO Castle. Coming in at the number 3 spot is the Orc from CMF Series 24. First off, this figure is a a reference to the 2007 fantasy era of castle. On top of that, he is an incredible army builder. All the parts he comes with allows you to do a ton of fig barfing. The hairpiece, the jaw, the cape, the shield, the sword, the printed arms and legs. Also, underneath the jaw is an amazing orc head. I bought around 75 of these figures when they first came out because I loved the army building potential of them. Also, there are a lot of great parts out there to fig barf this figure with. I already had a ton of this figure and then I fig barfed it with crocodile achievement parts to make around like 150 orcs or something like that. Also, just with the parts from this figure, you can make so many different ranks of orcs. Overall, every part of this figure is just amazing and he probably would have been my number one if it wasn't for the next two figures on this list. Coming in at number 2 is the Rogue from CMF Series 16. Now, for the longest time, this figure is my favorite castle figure, my favorite CMF figure, literally my favorite figure of all time. Honestly, he'd probably be my top pick if it wasn't for the number 1 figure on this list. So why do I love this figure so much? Well, there's a bunch of reasons why. First off, I love characters like the Rangers from Lord of the Rings, woodland archers who use their woodcraft to ambush enemies. Also, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I love hoods. And those kinds of characters usually wear hoods. The Rogue is one of those kinds of characters. Also, his hood piece is just awesome. We've only ever gotten one other hood piece like this, and it's from Ninjago, but it has printing on it. I just love the hood and mask look that it has. Also, as I already said in this video, I love the color dark green, and they just did a really good job of blending that dark green with brown and that dark red for just a fantastic look. Also, something that elevated this character for me is when I found out he's a part of the Wolfpack. Wolfpack is probably my top 3 favorite faction, so any minifigure that goes along with them, I just love. Also, we get a lot of knights in the CMF line, so I love it when we get a character that's more a roguelike. Again, this figure might just come down to personal preference, but to me, he's just an awesome minifigure. Before I give my number 1 pick, here are my honorable mentions. The Jester from Series 12. Similar reasons to why I chose the Troubadour and also the color scheme. Classic King from Series 13 and Classic Queen from Series 15. I really feel like I can't mention one without the other. Finally, Elf Maiden from Series 17. An absolutely beautiful figure with incredible printing. Before I reveal my top pick, if you're new to the channel and have enjoyed this list, hit that subscribe button. And for my number 1 pick is Basil the Batlord, aka the Vampire Knight from CMF Series 25. Look, I know I can't stop bringing this figure up in videos, and also if you talk to me in person, I can't stop bringing this figure up. Since this figure's release, it's become my favorite castle figure and probably my favorite figure of all time. Probably one of the reasons for that is Basil the Batlord is one of my favorite characters. I also love the original Basil the Batlord minifigure, and to me this figure is an amazing remake of him. Like, they stayed faithful to the original but changed him just enough to make him look more frightening. He is just as I imagine him, this frightening warlord. I know a lot of people do not like that new helmet, but I love it. That new helmet is perfect for modern LEGO Castle and is so much more terrifying. And his cape is just magnificent. Dual-sided with red on one side and gray on the other, and that Fright Knight's logo printed onto it. I remember when this figure was leaked, I was jumping around my bedroom at midnight because I was so excited about it. And even if you want to go, hey, this is the Vampire Knight, you know, I want to call him that because I want to army build him, not just have him as a specific character. Awesome, go for it. He is so much fun to army build. His parts are great to fig barf with. There's nothing about this figure where I'm like, you know, I wish LEGO had done this, or I wish LEGO had changed this. No. This figure is just perfect, and that is why he is number 1. That's my top 10 list for LEGO Castle CMF figures. Again, this is just my personal opinion, and I know my taste in minifigures differs from other people's. Let me know in the comments what you think of my list, and let me know what your top 10 LEGO Castle CMFs are.